And I want you to keep going. I don't want you to stop. I think that, when you picked up that pen and became a student, you found your calling. I think that a lot of our discourages, it comes from the lack of cooperation and participation from the people that we look for that. We expect that from. And we're not doing this for the people. Allah taught Adam all the names of everything.
Yeah, no doubt.
So knowledge and a whole bunch of people around you there's no condition for that, But having the knowledge, even if no one follows you, just having the knowledge and being able to leave behind that legacy, we can see from the life of the Prophet Ibrahim, alayhi salam, how during his lifetime he had hardly no followers. And now look at the tremendous population that all cling to his belief and his faith. We look at those stories of the prophets to motivate us, to keep us going. And this is not a lifestyle that historically brings a lot of money, especially if you're willing to go against the system.
Yeah, you gotta go against the system, man. You gotta go against the system.
But I thank you and I appreciate you. And anytime you want to come through, give a benefit, just cool out, come to the store, whatever it is that you want to involve me in. If you have any bright ideas, just keep me in the loop, keep in contact with me, and definitely stay on social media so that we can find you.
All right. Also, my son Idris was killed about a year ago, so make dua for him. You know what I'm saying? He was murdered by his stepfather.
Subhanallah.
His stepfather killed him.
Subhanallah.
Yep. Shot him in the back and in his neck, and his stepfather was also Muslim. So.
Yo, it's crazy you brought that, man. I just had a issue with my stepson, and I put it out there on social media, but we have to figure out how to bridge the gap between the elders and the youth. Everybody wants to blame this one or blame that one, and I blame the entire community.
Yeah,
it takes a village. It takes a village. And everybody shows up for the janazah, but nobody cares when you're crying out and you're seeking help and you need that support. You need that other influencer, and everybody just kind of gets out of the man's way, and it's quite unfortunate that at the end of the day, we're losing our youth due to the lack of communication and mutual respect between the elders and the youth.
Well, I'll tell you this, man, if you don't have choices, and I say this all the time, and I think that a lot of times the people giving dawah, for some reason, they don't seem to get this. And I'm gonna give a shout out to the brothers at Imam Muslim Family Center, because they seem to be going this direction and doing a better job of it than most. Outreach and being involved in the indigenous or the hood inner city communities, the Aboriginal communities. And I think that because there's three things that I believe that people need, and there's some Islamic basis for this. People need spirituality, okay? People need economics, and people need identity. Because identity brings self-esteem, economics brings choices, and spirituality brings morals. And if you don't have these three ingredients inside of a community, it's not going to grow. It's going to be some deficiencies there. There are going to be some major, big deficiencies. Because spirituality, obviously, we know what that brings for morality, because that's all we ever talk about. Character, not fornicating, not this, not that, right? But we don't talk about economics enough. We don't talk about our self-economics, okay? And I'm just telling you from my personal life, when you don't have economics, you don't have a lot of choices. Growing up, I remember making choices that were bad choices, but they were the best choice at the time, because there wasn't many other choices to make.
And I believe that there's concessions for that too.
Yeah.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to show mercy,
You know what I'm saying? So economically, if you don't, so our children go like this. We're telling our children not to like the kuffar, right? We're telling our children this, but at the same time, a lot of the men are the children are being taken care of. The state are taking care of the children, either through welfare, through Section 8, or through some type of program, right? What does that do to the akidah or the belief system of that child? Okay, Let's take it outside of the Muslims. Let's talk to the indigenous community. That's our people, but they're not Muslims, right? Now, these sons have no fathers. The mothers are taking care of them. They take on feminism. Okay, they take on. They don't ever see a man taking care of them, so they don't know what a man is. They don't respect authority, so they go out and get killed by the police. They go out, get killed by each other. Okay, one thing you say wrong to them, they blow up like a woman. They want to argue until somebody gets shot and killed. I mean, these are the things that we're dealing with, and if we don't have any answers for these, and that's why I say spirituality, economics, and identity. Identity brings pride, like we talked about on our walk here. Nobody can deny that this aboriginal awakening of the so-called African American has been a positive thing. I've met many of them because I'm in these groups, and I go to these different powwows and I visit these guys and I talk with them. Some of the guys you see on YouTube, I've met these guys, and I've met the people who listen to them, and I've been around, and I'm watching people pull their pants up. I'm watching these guys. These are not Muslims I'm talking about. These guys are leaving the drugs alone. These guys are opening up business. I know a guy who got into the Aboriginal movement a few years ago. He has an app now. He created his own app. Okay? Where I'm looking at the positive effects of this. And I'm saying to myself, if you put spirituality with that and more economics involved in that, man, you can have an awakening that would be so positive, like a wave. But the problem is that people are stuck, institutionalized in a certain way of thinking that has nothing to do with your own benefit. And that's the problem. So to me, you got to get spirituality, economics, and you have to have an identity. And people say, oh, well, Muslims are our people or Islam is our identity. No, Islam is my spiritual identity. But it's not my cultural or my lineage identity. And that's separate. They work together to make a better human being. They work hand in hand to create a more functionable, workable human being. One doesn't erase the other. And until we get out of that concept and start dealing with the economics of these communities, okay, then you see it. Name me one model, name me one where you've seen people saying they're giving dawah, where there's a successful model, economically, socially, anywhere in the country, from our people. We can't even name one.
I mean, the last time I've seen it done, it was with the Nation of Islam on a large scale.
That's what I'm saying.
You can't take that from them.
And maybe in East Orange back in the day. But that collapsed.
I wouldn't even say that they didn't have all three. They had spirituality. They lacked identity.
Yeah.
And they lacked economics. Abu Muslim, Hafidhullah, stuck to his blueprint, and you can see how his blueprint manifested into a solid cornerstone for the community. But it just, the hearts and the minds were so fragmented that nobody really can benefit from the facility the way they should.
Exactly, because you got Toby Muhammad's, I call them. Everybody want to be a Toby Muhammad. And people are not really slowing down a little bit and just looking at what's the issues. Like, I'll give you an example. And this is just from my own personal view, because I like talking raw. When I talk, I like to talk about me. If you look at when I became into the Dawah, 96, 97, I'm coming from the corner, a broken home, no men around, drugs, fornication, violence, abuse on every level. And that's most of us in the inner city. Most of us. Okay? Now we come into Islam. It doesn't magically go away, Coach. These things don't magically disappear. Your psychosis, your anger, your frustrations, your depression, all of that stuff doesn't magically go away with the whip of a thobe or a niqab or saying la ilaha illallah. No, it has to be work. But the parts of Islam that deal with that, psychosis, psychology, emotional issues, it was never brought to us in a way that where it was dealing directly, made us face ourselves. So we never did. So what happened was, instead of facing ourselves, we turned and faced everybody else's problems. You feel me? This one is on it, this one is off it, that one is on innovation, that one's that. So we kind of focus in on all the negativity of other people instead of focusing on our own negativities. And if we would have done that and dealt with our own negativities and our own problems and our own emotional issues, I'm telling you, we'd have saw a change. If we'd have took the spirituality